On the 2nd of June, 2025, Eastenders brought viewers back into the troubled world of Lauren Branning, a woman who has been struggling to stay afloat amid mounting personal pain, old wounds, and the ever-looming shadow of her past. The episode did not just scratch the surface of her battle with alcoholism, it plunged into the very heart of it, peeling back layers of guilt, loneliness, and desperation that have been simmering inside her ever since her return to Walford. The day began much like any other in Albert Square, bustling markets, familiar faces exchanging wary greetings, and the sense that everyone's got something to hide. But behind Lauren's weary eyes, there was a storm quietly building. She had been putting on a brave face for weeks, pretending that she was okay, that she could manage everything, her grief over Cindy's death, the pressure of motherhood, the loneliness, and most of all, the unspoken truth that she was still holding herself together by sheer force of will. Lauren found herself wandering the streets of Walford, eyes scanning the faces that had become so familiar and yet so distant. She passed the Albert, its glow calling out to her like an old friend and an enemy all at once. It was there that the temptation first started clawing its way back into her thoughts. One drink. That's all it would take to silence the noise in her head, even just for a moment. And the worst part? No one would even notice. No one was really paying attention. That's how isolated she felt. At the cafe, she ran into Jack and Denise. They exchanged awkward pleasantries. Jack asked how she was holding up, and Denise offered a smile that was a little too tight, a little too rehearsed. Lauren gave them the usual answer, "I'm fine," but even she didn't believe her own voice anymore. The moment was short, and as they turned to leave, her smile faltered. They didn't see it. They never did. Later, at home, she stood in her kitchen, staring blankly at a bottle of wine that wasn't hers. It belonged to Penny, who'd left it out from the night before. Lauren stared at it as if it were a mirror, reflecting all the parts of herself she didn't want to see. Her hands trembled as she picked it up, eyes glazed with indecision. The tension in that moment was unbearable. The wine was uncorked. The glass was there. Everything was ready. And in Lauren's mind, the justifications began rolling in, "I've been through so much, no one understands, it's just one glass." But just before she could pour, she was interrupted by a knock on the door. It was Whitney. She'd come by to check on her, sensing something wasn't right. Lauren hastily hid the bottle and forced a smile. Whitney's presence brought both comfort and shame. Lauren couldn't meet her eyes properly. Whitney, ever intuitive, noticed something was off. She asked if Lauren had been taking care of herself, and Lauren said yes. But her voice cracked ever so slightly. Whitney didn't push too hard. She just sat with her,